Alex, Whataburger is better than In-N-Out.
Ben, good. Not better than In-N-Out.
You know what I was thinking? The patty melt. It's a Whataburger classic. It's the Houston Astros of orders. You can always count on it year after year after year after year after year after year after year. It's inevitable. It's always here for you. It's a classic. It is the Houston Astros.
Well, you know what, Ben? I think the sweet and spicy bacon burger is kind of like the Texas Rangers. It's sweet, like their bats have been this whole postseason, and an unexpected spice, kind of like their starting rotation has been. And then you have Max Scherzer, kind of like a side of this spicy ketchup.
Is this the silliest intro we've ever done?
Probably, but it's also my favorite.
Back in Houston, ALCS. It is game 2, the Astros and the Rangers. There's a fly ball to left field, and Jonah Heim hits it out. They can get on the board quick. Hammers the ball down the line. His second of the game, cuts it to 1. The 1-2 pitch. Altuve's down on strikes, and Eovaldi goes back-to-back Ks with the bases juice. Now up 2-0 going home. Rangers have Max Scherzer going in game 3, though. Should be fun.
Just because they're down 2 games, it's not over.
It's a Lone Star Showdown with everything on the line.
This is going to be an epic series.
What is up, everybody? Welcome into the Game 3 of the ALCS pregame show. Alex and I have made it to Dallas. We are, Arlington. Technically.
Yeah.
We have made it up here. What a journey it was. I am joined, as always, by Alex Curry. Alex, we had a fun road trip up here.
We did. As you saw, we hit all the major Texas, what would you call them?
Staples.
I had never been to a Buc-ee's. Got to experience one of the most magical stops I've ever seen on the side of a road in my life. And then Whataburger. And you guys, yeah, it's up for debate. Not better than In-N-Out. You're coming from a California girl. It's not going to happen.
But we officially put together the best intro to a show that we have ever done.
Yes,
I think
we
we
have.
can both agree on
Yeah,
that.
no, that was a blast. But let's get to today, because Texas Rangers are still undefeated this postseason, which is crazy to kind of wrap your head around. I mean, they are 2 wins away from their first playoff berth since 2011. But the big news today, Max Scherzer back on the mound.
Yeah.
What are you expecting to see from him, since he hasn't pitched since September 12th?
Look, the Rangers have won 7 straight postseason games. That's 1 behind the all-time record of the Kansas City Royals.
Wow.
They haven't lost in the playoffs. And now this is a 2-0 series. Against all odds, everybody had the Astros favored to win, but the Rangers haven't lost in this series yet. But now you have Max Scherzer going on the mound, and you ask what I'm expecting?
Yeah.
Well, I don't really know, and nobody does. And that's what's so interesting about this start here for Max Scherzer, is he hasn't pitched since middle of September.
It's a long time.
It's been over a month since Max Scherzer has thrown, and he's coming off of the same injury that my brother had and dealt with throughout the entire beginning of the season, and had to come back from and rehab from and go on rehab assignments and all of that stuff. And now Max is just expected to come back and pitch in the ALCS. Well, here's what we know. Max has thrown multiple sim games. He's gotten up to 68 pitches. The latest we've heard is they hope he could get 90 pitches tonight.
Whoa.
So that's about 4 or 5 innings that you could possibly get out of Max Scherzer tonight, if not more. And I think that bodes well for him. But you don't know how he's going to come out and throw.
Yeah.
Is he going to be rusty? Now, since August 1st, he has the lowest opponent batting average in all of the American League.
Okay.
So when he's out there, he's really good. But he hasn't been out there in a while. Is he going to be rusty? Well, that's something I talked to Justin about last night. We had a big family dinner, our first night in town. It was my dad's birthday. My dad's 69th birthday yesterday. Happy birthday to my dad, who's over here to the side, not paying an ounce of attention to me right now. But happy birthday to my dad. And I was talking to my brother about this and about his injury. And it's just something that's really difficult to come back from. It lingers. It's annoying. He wasn't right when he did come back at first. So now Max Scherzer is coming back from that without a rehab assignment in the minor leagues, without any time pitching in the major leagues, and he's expected to bounce right back and be really good. Now, we saw Max Scherzer throwing the sim game. He's talked about it. He said he feels good. Alex, the storyline of the night is how Max Scherzer is going to pitch. Nobody knows. I don't think he knows. The Astros don't know. But that's going to be huge here tonight for the Texas Rangers. And they do have a 2-0 lead in this series. But we'll see how that goes. But, Alex, I'm excited to see it. This atmosphere here tonight is unbelievable. First ALCS game in this building in over a decade. Max Scherzer's a big energy guy.
They're playing Creed right now, which is like
Creed right now.
The Texas Rangers energy spark that they started doing during the middle of the season to turn their season around, and they've been keeping it through the postseason.
So I'll say this: you ask about Max. He's a high energy guy. He's a little bit crazy out there on the mound. He feeds off the environment. I kind of like that he's starting Game 3 because it gets him back in front of his home crowd where he can feed off that energy. I'm excited to see what happens here.
Question, though, how short of a leash are they going to have on him if things get out of control?
I think it's all the eye test. And nobody's better to do the eye test than the guy in that Rangers dugout down there,
it's true.
Bruce Bochy, who has dealt with this a lot throughout his career. He's seen it all. He's a Hall of Fame manager. He's won World Series. He can do the eye test. It's not analytics with Bruce Bochy. I'm not saying analytics are the worst and that there's no place in baseball, but you need to have some feel. And Bruce Bochy has that. I don't think there's a pitch count. I don't think there's a pitch limit. I don't think he's saying 3 innings and you're done. I think he's saying when Max Scherzer goes out there, I'm going to use my eyes and he's going to tell me when he's done.
Now, you've been saying I would say this entire postseason, the Astros are inevitable, but they are down 0-2 in this series. Is this a must-win for the Houston Astros tonight?
Look, we all know the situation for the Astros. They're down 0-2 in a series. That's not where you want to be, which means tonight is a no-excuses, must-win game for the Houston Astros. And for the first time in years, all of the pressure is on them. Let's start with the historical implications here, right? The higher seed that has gone down 0-2 in a best-of-7 series in the CS has never come back to win. 0-21.
History's not on their side.
0-21. In fact, in any best-of-7 series, only one team has ever come back from down 3-0. We know who that is. It's the Boston Red Sox over their heated rival, the New York Yankees. But historically, what the Astros have gone through, 0-21, which make sure you're watching. All eyes on. We could be seeing history here. If the Astros come back and win this series, they'd be the first team to ever come back and win. Next, for the Houston Astros, I say it's been years since they've had all the pressure on them. Last year, let's talk about it. They sweep the ALDS against the Seattle Mariners. They sweep the ALCS against the New York Yankees. They win the World Series in 5 games. They dominated that series. They dominated the ALDS this year against the Minnesota Twins. It has been since the 2021 World Series when the Astros went down 3-1 against the Atlanta Braves that they have had all this pressure on them. So how are they going to handle that? Nobody knows. We'll see. This is a completely different team, but historically, the Astros have never in their history come back from an 0-2 deficit in a best-of-7 series. Next up, Alex, the Astros are on the road. I've told you for months now, the Astros are the best team in baseball on the road, the best run differential, the best record in all of baseball on the road. Well, now, it's put up or shut up time. You either do what everybody believes you can do, or you lose. If you go down 3-0 in a series, you're done. That's what the Astros have on the line here tonight. But they are on the road, where we've heard so much about them. They're 6-1 this season here at Globe Life Park. They just swept them here a few weeks ago in one of the most dominant series we've ever seen. But if you're not that dominant here again, you're going to lose this series without it even going back to Houston. That's dominance. But the Astros have won 11 straight games on the road when scoring first, Alex. That's going to be the key. Score first, put the pressure back on the Rangers, and if you don't score first, they are not a great baseball team on the road. Score early, score often, put the pressure on them, and tell them that, yeah, we are better on the road. So the Astros, all pressure on them, Alex, for the first time since 2021.
Why are the Astros so good on the road? I mean, obviously we have the numbers, but why?
Because they've embraced the villain role.
Okay.
You know, we all know what happened with the Houston Astros since 2017. They win the World Series. A couple of years later, the cheating scandal comes out. And ever since then, Alex, you can hear it happening right now.
They're getting booed like crazy right now.
You can hear it right now. They get booed like crazy everywhere they go. And if I'm the Texas Rangers fans, I don't boo them. I stand up and start cheering them like the home crowd does because they can't win at home. But they can win on the road because they've embraced the villain role. Alex, we work at Fox. Over the last couple of days, the ratings have come out. The Houston Astros and the Texas Rangers, Game 1 was the most watched ALCS Game 1 since 2010.
Wow.
Why? Because the Astros are the villain. Everybody loves to hate a villain. The Astros love being the villain. They love being on the road. They've embraced it all. That's reason number one why the Astros are better on the road, because they have embraced the villain role. Jose Altuve, the guy we just heard get booed, you go to Yankee Stadium and you watch a playoff game there. You watch a regular season game there. Yankees fans are constantly cheering, fuck Altuve, the entire game. It doesn't do anything. He's the best player in the postseason since 2015 on the road. At Yankee Stadium, he has the most hits of anybody as a visitor in the postseason since 2015. He's embraced the villain role. Stop booing the Astros. It does not work. Next up, I've had conversations with Justin. I've had conversations with players around the Astros. They're not worried. But it's all about getting off to a good start. This Astros team is so good on the road that they are down 0-2 in a series, and they all truly believe, we're fine. We can do this. Justin, even last night, we were talking about the series, and yeah, we can win this series. Guys around the locker room, yeah, we can win this series. So they truly have all the confidence in the world of winning on the road, but it's not an easy thing when down 0-2, Alex. It's something that I talk to John Smoltz all the time.
Yeah.
John Smoltz and I talked about this today. When you're down 0-2 in a series, they did it multiple times throughout his career. How do the Astros respond, and how do you win if you are in an 0-2 hole? Let's listen to what he had to say. All right, John, we've made it. Game 3 here in Texas today. The Houston Astros are down 2-0 in this series, something that your Braves team experienced a couple times in a 7-game series. Specifically in 91, you guys were down 2-0. What is the vibe tonight for the Houston Astros? What's the thought there in the clubhouse ahead of tonight's game where it feels like a must-win game?
Yeah, I remember when we were 2 down, but we came home. You know, that was a good feeling. But you know you got to win Game 3. I mean, the one thing about a series, I talk about the mental gymnastics that have to be played because you get the narratives that are magnified. You get people asking you questions constantly, which wouldn't happen in a regular season. No one goes to a team and goes, you lost the first 2 games of the series. What are you going to do? And so they have to win Game 3. I mean, that is one of the known factors. They're great on the road. The numbers speak to what they've done all year. Some things make sense about the Astros, some things don't. But what does have to happen is offensively, they got to get clicking. It starts with Altuve. It ends with Tucker. And those are the 2 guys that got to get going.
Are the Astros feeling, obviously you never want to be down 2-0 in a series. Are they feeling okay because of how much better they are on the road? It's super weird how much better they are on the road. So is that something in their minds of, all right, we lost the first 2 at home, but we're out of there now. We can get away from home and go win some ball
I think
games.
you can play on that narrative, but I think the reason they're feeling better is the guy on the mound.
Yeah.
I mean, he's given up 2 hits and 50 at-bats in 3 starts. That is getting it done on the road, and they were all on the road. So you're always going to feed off your starting pitcher. Look, the simple fact, if I had to break it down in that locker room, if I was in Texas, talking about Texas, I'd say they've had the lead every inning but 1. We just need to get the lead. Put some pressure on their pen. Get into their pen earlier. There's a little unknown with Max Scherzer. So I just think that the game and the starting pitcher is a more known commodity than a little bit of the question mark of what are you going to get out of Scherzer.
All right, let's talk about this pitching.
All right,
matchup
John, we've
tonight.
made it.
Obviously,
Game
we've
3.
spent a lot of time already talking about Max Scherzer. We know what's at stake for him and this Rangers team here tonight. But let's take a look at the Astros starter, Christian Javier. He had kind of an up and down season, but he has risen to the occasion this postseason. He's coming off a great outing, 5 scoreless innings. What are you expecting to see from him tonight?
He's been great in the postseason. Not a good regular season for Christian Javier, but his postseason career, you can see the numbers there. A 1.91 ERA in the postseason. And he's tied for second all time with 5 or more innings pitched and 0 earned runs scored in number of starts that he's done that. All time.
Yeah.
He's done it 3 times. That's tied for second all time, which is incredible. When I see from Christian Javier is when he's on, he's really difficult to hit. And you can hear it from hitters. I've talked to hitters that have faced Christian Javier. He throws an invisible. What does that mean? You hear it a lot in baseball. Basically what it means, the pitcher hides the ball really well. It's tough to pick up until the very last second. And his spin rate on his fastball is really high. So what you think you're swinging at, you're not actually swinging at. You think the fastball's here, it's actually here. Next thing you know, you've missed it. So he's really difficult on batters to face. This place is really loud, by the way, Alex. This is awesome. Bruce Bochy, legendary manager, coming out now. Christian Javier on the mound. Opponents are 2 for 51 against him in 3 postseason starts. He's given up 2 hits in 51 at-bats. That is dominance. I asked John Smoltz about him today, about this pitching matchup as a whole, and specifically, what have you seen from Christian Javier that makes him so dominant? Let's listen to that now. Pitching matchup tonight, Christian Javier against Max Scherzer. What are you expecting in tonight's pitching matchup?
Well, the biggest thing out of Scherzer is what does he give you? He's going to be high RPM. It's going to be typical Max. He hasn't pitched in 5 weeks in a real game. And I think the adrenaline is going to be huge for him early. But does it get him off his game and his command? He's a first-pitch strike machine, and this is an aggressive first-pitch team. So the cat-and-mouse game starts early. On the flip side, Javier has got cold water in his vein. I mean, he has just been unbelievable. And his fastball most of the year did not play like last year. It looks lately that he's regained some of that late life, and his secondary stuff was really good against Minnesota. So I love these battles because you've got a hot team has not lost. You got a fearless pitcher who hasn't given up any hits. Something's got to give.
Max Scherzer tonight specifically, we all know the narrative around the start, right? He hasn't pitched in a long time. He's coming back to pitch in an ALCS game. If you're the Houston Astros lineup, how do you approach Max tonight? You know he's going to be maybe not a pitch count per se, but he's not going to be able to go his normal amount of time. Do you try and work counts, get deep into the counts, and make him get out earlier, or do you know he's going to be aggressive in the strike zone and try and attack him early in counts?
Typically, your leadoff hitter will tell you everything you need to know.
Altuve slings at everything.
That's the counter argument, because you've got a patient hitter in Brantley that I think is a great move for Houston to put him there, and I think you're going to know early on which way Houston's going to try to approach. If I were Houston, because of the unknown in Scherzer, I would really try to take advantage of anything early hard and get on the board. I don't think he's going to walk a lot of people, even though that might be the narrative because he's rusty. And I wouldn't necessarily want to feel him out early to get into a bunch of 2 straight counts.
Yeah.
So it literally is going to be fun to watch, because the pen for Texas in the last 7 games has been really good. The narrative is get in their pen, put pressure, can they win a close game? They did last game. And they have gotten enough innings out of their starters to avoid getting long innings out of their relievers.
With Christian Javier specifically, not a great regular season this year. And then we've gotten to the postseason, and he's done it again. And Christian Javier in the postseason now is tied for second all-time in starts of 5 or more innings with 0 earned runs. How has he been able to do it lately? When you see Christian Javier and he's on, what makes him so good? He's not a guy that's going to throw 100 miles an hour. Right. So what do you see from him?
He's got that invisible fastball, meaning creates enough spin to have late life. Doesn't look like he's throwing hard. And when you have a tired arm or you've gone deep like he did last year, maybe most of that season, he didn't rebound and have that late life that we're able to see. not boring it by hitters. You'll see hitters react when he's right to like, oh, shoot, that ball got on me, and then he can spin his breaking balls. He just has the it factor with whether it's spin rate or that fastball that just does not, the hitters can't see. And I think lately that's what he's figured out, whether it's literally his arm has recovered and he feels good again and mechanically he's connected. But, boy, he's fun to watch when you're on his team, and the 3 games he pitched have been that incredible.
No matter how many times you hear that song, it just gets you so ready for the game to start. We're ready.
I will say, every time that the anthem plays, you go right back to. I heard the anthem a million times.
It's the song
I've
heard the most in my life.
You never like the vibes. You go back into playing mode.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, I'm supposed to pick up my glove and run out into the field now.
Yeah.
That's not gonna be able to happen.
No,
but
it's
I
not.
digress.
Now let's get to the Astros lineup, all right? A little bit of movement here today, including my player to watch. Kyle Tucker has moved down to the 6th hole. Unfortunately, we have not seen much from Kyle in this series, and that needs to turn around ASAP if this Astros team wants to stay in this and pick up a win here tonight. So I think he is going to be a big factor if he can get things going. That's really going to help this Astros offense.
Yeah, Dusty and him talked the other day about moving him down in the lineup. He's hitting under 100 in the playoffs so far this year, so they moved him down a good bit. I agree with you. I'm interested to see how Kyle Tucker is going to do today. 0.91 in the for the average.
Yeah, it's not good.
But 18-game consecutive hit streak for Kyle Tucker at Globe Life. So he hits well here. Something's got to give.
It
Bad
does.
in the playoffs, good at Globe Life. We'll see what happens tonight. Alex, for me, my player to watch in the Astros lineup is Yordan Alvarez. How many home runs is he going to hit tonight? 2 or 3? That's really the only question remaining.
Yeah.
You know the guy's going to rake. He's unbelievable. A 17.01 OPS this postseason, which is the 6th highest by one player through the first 6 games of a postseason in history. That's how good he's been. Yordan has been carrying this lineup through the postseason. They're down 0-2 in this series. He needs to keep doing what he's doing, but other people need to step up at this point.
Yeah, they do. All right, let's move over to the Rangers lineup. These bats have just been red hot. As I said off the top of the show, they are undefeated. And this is their first home game of this series. Who are you watching out for tonight?
Corey Seager. The guy's dominant, but he hasn't been super dominant in this series so far. He's been okay, but how's he going to do? He's the best player in baseball. When he's batting and when he's playing, and he's playing shortstop, and he's playing here at Globe Life Park, he was one of the best offensive players in all of baseball this season. Batting .391 in the postseason with an OPS of 1240. But I'm interested to see it in the ALCS.
Yeah.
He has the most home runs in the history of Globe Life in the postseason. Now that dates back to
Dodgers.
2020.
I'm like, wait a second.
That dates back to 2020 when the Dodgers played the COVID World Series here and the NLCS here. But he's been doing it this year for them in the playoffs as well. Can he do it now? Corey Seager, is he going to get hot today? We will see.
All right, my player to watch is Adolis Garcia. Now, he was hitting great all season for this Rangers team and postseason up until this series. He's only hitting 142 this series. He led the Rangers in RBI in the regular season. Nothing in this series. If he can get things going, he can keep this Texas team rolling and rolling their way all the way to the World Series. So that's going to be a good one. Okay, what's going to be the deciding factor for this game tonight?
It's Max Scherzer.
Yeah.
What is Max Scherzer going to do tonight, and how effective will he be? To me, there's no other key factor than that. Max Scherzer's a Hall of Famer. He's one of the greatest pitchers to ever do it, but he's been out for over a month. Can he do it here tonight on the biggest stage and the biggest game of the year for the Texas Rangers? I don't know. He might not know. Nobody knows. But if he's on, he will dominate, and it will be huge for the Texas Rangers. But I also talked to John Smoltz earlier about his deciding factor of the game, here tonight in Texas. Let's listen to what he had to say. John, Game 3 is just around the corner here in Texas. 2-0 Rangers heading home now. What is your deciding factor of the game tonight?
The deciding factor is really going to be, as I think about it, is I know it sounds cheesy and Captain Obvious, is the start of the game for Scherzer.
Yeah.
The crowd is going to be in it. If we had an RPM monitor or gauge, he's going to be redlining. He's going to be redlining. Look, I don't think he knows any other way, and that can work to his advantage. But I just think that adrenaline, when it wears off, what's that going to bring? And Bruce Bochy's pitched his bullpen perfectly, and that'll be the key on when they take Max Scherzer out. I honestly think if Max can start off really well and keep the crowd in it and allow the offense to get the lead and create more pressure on Houston, then that's a good thing. But I just think that the key is going to be the first couple innings because there's just too much unknown.
Yeah.
Great pitcher, Hall of Fame pitcher, 5 weeks is a long time, and trusting what you know is different than trusting what you have, and that's going to be the key.
All right, thanks, John. Game 3 is just around the corner.
All right, Ben, we are 6.5 minutes away from first pitch. It's time for our Game 3 predictions. What you going with?
I'm going 6-2 Houston Astros tonight. At some point, they got to win, right?
Yeah.
Right?
That's true. All right, I am also taking the Astros. I mean, picked them Game 1, Game 2. Third time's a charm, right? I mean, this is it. This is do or die for them. 6-3 Astros tonight. I think they get to Scherzer early.
Alex, the environment here is nuts. The crowd is rocking. We'll be hearing Creed throughout the night.
Yes,
this is going to be a fun one. The first ALCS game here in over a decade. This stream will take you right up through first pitch. You can watch the first half inning of the game right here. But that does it for Alex and I. We will be back live post-game following the game. We will see you all then. Until then, enjoy the game, everybody. Peace.
He had neck spasms then, but his arm was in shape. This time, he isn't fully built up. How long he can go, how effective he will be, is anyone's guess. The Rangers, though, are ready for any scenario. They've got so many multi-inning options stacked up behind Scherzer, they've got plenty left over for Game 4. Now, over to Tom Verducci.
Well, thanks, Ken. Like dancing and golf, hitting is a craft that works from the ground up. And that's where the Astros coaches believe they have unlocked the swing of Kyle Tucker, who is 0 for 8 in this series. When he's right, as he was in the DS, Tucker starts with his foot closer to the plate and impacts the baseball from a closed position. When he's not, and they saw this in the first 2 games, more neutral setup and an open stance at contact. Now, yesterday, Tucker worked closely on hitting with that closed position. That was batting practice. Tonight, it's time to dance. Joe?
All right, Tom, the Astros hoping he does, and hoping Jose Altuve can get going as well with a little Texas two-step. He's 0 for 8 in this championship series as well. The Astros have made a season out of coming back. Turn to a guy who's made his name in the postseason. And the Texas Rangers, 2 years removed from losing 100 games, 2 wins from the World Series. First pitch of Game 3 comes up next.
big and bright, deep in the heart of Texas. The cowboys cry, Ki-yip-ki-yi. Deep in the heart of Texas, the doggies bawl and say you all. Deep in the heart of Texas.
So we make about 3.5-hour trip from Houston up here to Arlington. Maybe you can make a trip to the State Fair while you're here for the championship series. Game 3 in this best of 7 at Globe Life Field. And Max Scherzer ready to go against this lineup for the Astros, sponsored by IBM. And it is the first time all year that Dusty Baker's put this lineup together. He thought about this late into the night. Michael Brantley hit second for the first time since last year. Kyle Tucker that low in the lineup, also for the first time in a year. The story tonight is Max Scherzer. When he first went down with an injury, they said he was probably done for the year, but leave it to Mad Max to find the way back.
Well, he's a strike thrower. He throws more first pitch strikes than anybody, and this is an aggressive lineup, so it's going to really be interesting. If I'm the Astros, I stay with the aggressive approach, try to get his fastball early. You know, normally you want to knock the starting pitcher out of the game early, but I don't know that Max can go that deep based on the time off he's had.
You'd think about a first pitch non-fastball here?
I would always throw a first pitch slider to Altuve, but he's had Altuve's numbers, so this will be fun to watch.
Here we go, game 3 of the championship series. Off we go. He throws a fastball. It's 95, which is a good sign, and it's ball 1 on Altuve.
Yeah, the key again, Joe, is going to be, will he have touch on that changeup, and will he have break on his slider? Because you know he's our RPM meter is high.
There is a breaking ball. That was the curve, and it's lofted to left center field. Carries pretty well. Taveras tiptoeing to the track. It kept on going, but not far enough. Kind of similar to the ball that Altuve hit for the final out of game 2.
Well, the Astros know they've got to get on the scoreboard first and create some pressure for the Rangers. That's why they've kind of tweaked their lineup here, anticipating some pitching changes, but more importantly, Brantley and his patience. 54 at bats, 1 strikeout against Scherzer.
Yeah, so they're seeing what he's done lately, because he had 2 hits in game 2, including an RBI double, and that track record against Scherzer. And this continues a remarkable story for Michael Brantley, who missed 14 months with a shoulder injury. He played in 15 games in the regular season, and now he's doing this. Now this 0-1 from Scherzer. Fastball in there for strike 2. Oh, 2 pitch. 2 gone in the first.
Well, like we said, 1 strikeout and 54 at bats. Who could have predicted that? The curveball early on has good touch on it. That's a good sign for Max. He's going to have to rely on his slider as well against right-handers. That curveball will be played up big if he's going to get Alvarez out. Not many people have been able to get him out in the postseason.
Faces Bregman here. 2 gone, scoreless first inning. Breaking pitches have been what Rangers pitchers have leaned on in this series. Astros are now 2 for 27 against breaking balls. Alex Bregman hit his 17th postseason home run in game 2. And on this 0-1 from Scherzer, he takes inside, 1 ball, 1 strike.
There's the slider. That one backed up. He wants that to turn the corner. So key to have that pitch turn the corner. With the arm angle that Max Scherzer throws, he creates a tough angle for right-handed hitters.
Home of this 1-1. Bregman lifts it in the air, right center field. Garcia and Taveras. Who wants it? It is Taveras with a catch. And an 8-pitch first inning for Max Scherzer.